everybody, it's Christina from Creations with Christina, and today I wanted to do a quick tutorial on how to use the We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board. This is pretty cool. I'm pretty impressed with it. I do know that when they first released this there were some errors on some of the measurements, and it went out of stock for a while, and recently I found that I needed to get some new envelopes because I totally ran out of my standard A2 size card envelopes, and I was ready to order. And then what I decided to do was try this instead, so I can make my own envelopes. And not only that, I can it was less than $20 because I had a 20% off coupon from a cherry on top, so I ordered it from there. And I would have paid more than that for ordering my A2 size envelopes online. And so anyway, let me just show you how this works. I do know there are still minor errors with the A2 size envelope, but I do have a little workaround. I'll show you first how to do it using the measurements that are on here so you can see the comparison between the two. So overall, the board measures 6 3/4 by 10 1/2, so it's 6 3/4 by 10 1/2. It does come with a little bone folder. It has a little section here that you slide it into on the back, and it also has a punch right here on this side, and then on the back side is a corner rounder. So I really like that little feature there too. So let me zoom in. I do know, like I said, when this first came out, some of the measurements on some of these were wrong. So let me just show you right now. On the newer ones it is right, but the A2 size is not right. It makes a weird size envelope, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So first of all, what you're going to do is, here it tells you the card size, so you look for the card size you're going to do. So we're going to do an A2 size card. Then the next measurement will be your paper size. This says to cut it at 8 1/8 by 8 1/8. And then your score line is 3 3/4. Now when your score line, it's only the first time you score is you're going to line it up at 3 3/4, or whatever the measurements, like this one right here says to line it up at 3 inches, you'd line the corner of your paper at 3 inches. After that, you're going to line your score lines with this. So let me just show you how we're going to do this. First, we're going to start off by cutting our pattern paper, or in this case, I'm just using a plain white copy paper for now. So I'm going to pull out my paper trimmer. I'm just using a piece of copy paper. I'm going to cut this at 8 1/8, 8 1/8, like it says on the board, to do a standard A2 size card. So 8 1/8 by 8 1/8. And you're going to go ahead and line this up at 3 3/4. So we'll line it up at 3 3/4. You take your bone folder, and right inside here, and I don't know if you can see that very well, but what you do is you take your bone folder and you'll feel the guide. There's a guide right here, the score line, just like as if you're using a scoreboard or something like that. So we're going to line this up. We'll stick this right up against the side here and score our first line. Before I turn it, I just hit this little button right here, and what that does is makes my little V right here for folding. So we're just going to turn this, and it might be hard for you to see, but there is a score line right here. You line that score line up with this little mark that comes out, and then you do your score again. Punch a hole, and the punch is really nice. It's very easy to use. You could do it. I can even do it with one finger. So that's a nice little thing, because sometimes you get punches and they're impossible to punch. So each time I rotate, I am lining up my score line that I scored right with this little piece that sticks out here. Okay, so that is the punching and scoring. Then if you turn your scoreboard around, on this side right here you have a corner rounder. So you can do all of the corners if you want to. I like to do all the corners. It makes it just nice. So we're sticking the corners in each end and doing a rounded corner. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is fold our score lines. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And now you'll see this actually doesn't measure up. It's a very strange size. So I'm going to show you. So I'm just going to add adhesive to these two flaps over here. And then I have a card here that is a standard A2 size card. It's one I made a while ago, and it has a little bit of bulk to it. I mean, it's not really bulky, but it is extremely tight to get it in. As a matter of fact, when I was trying to get my other one in, I totally wrinkled up the envelope pretty badly. So it's really, really tight. Even to slide it out, it was really tight, but let me show you the comparison. This is the envelope itself. This is the card. There's very little wiggle room, and look at how much gap there is in the top here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's about a 1/2 inch gap. It's about a 1/2 inch bigger. So I was kind of playing around, and what I did was I just messed with my measurements a little bit. So I'm going to start off again with another piece of copy paper, and this time I'm going to do my cut lines at 8 1/8. So we'll do our first cut line at 8 1/8. And then the next one when we turn it is going to be 8 1/4. It makes a little bit of a difference in the envelope size, that 1/4 inch, or the 1/8 of an inch actually. So there we have it's 8 1/8 by 8 1/4. Still lining it up at 3 3/4. And then I'm going to do my score line. So I put my bone folder right inside here, go right along the score line, which is this piece right here. Do our punch. Put our paper in, line our score line up with the piece that sticks out here. Do our punch. It really doesn't matter if you punch before you score. Either way works. Alright, and then you can round the corners on this if you want, but I'm not going to do that right now. It's just really to show you just how that 1/8 of an inch makes a difference in your envelope size. So that is now my envelope. And I'm going to, as soon as I figure out where I placed my card, there it is, it actually fits much better. It's still a little bit bigger, but not by a lot like it is before. I'm going to go ahead and seal this just so I could show you how much easier it is to stick the card in. It has more room. Now this is, like I said, a thicker card, but I still can slide it in much easier than my other card as soon as I get all my little pieces in there. So it does fit better inside here, and it's maybe about a 1/4 inch bigger rather than a 1/2 inch bigger, which was the other one. So let me just show you compare the two envelopes. So this was this one right here was, nope, that's not it. This one is my one that I first made with the measurements that show on the scoreboard. So that's the one that's done with the 8 1/8 by 8 1/8. This is the one that's done with the 8 1/8 by 8 1/4, and you can see the difference. This one is shorter and a little bit longer, and it made a big difference in the size. So I'm going to probably mark my scoreboard so I can tell which one, so I know my measurements for this. So anyway, all in all, I do like it, even though that little minor error there, and I do know that there were other sizes that were off. I do believe they've corrected them. I don't know if there's any other ones, but as I play with it, I will let you know. So that is my impression and a quick tutorial on how to use the We Are Member Keepers envelope punch board. So if you have any questions or any comments, just feel free to leave them below or email me and I will get back to you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.